Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Jamie Howe of Fox Sports, who will be on pit road for the ARCA race as well as the Xfinity race at MidOhio. How's it going?
Oh, it's great. Busy week.
Yeah. For the first time in your career, you're going to be on pit road for the Xfinity Series. You've been on pit road for trucks. You've done ARCA. You've done IMSA when it was on the Fox package. You've done NHRA. You've done a lot of things in your career. How about the Xfinity Series?
I've done a ton of things, but I've always been looking to move up the NASCAR ranks the last few years. And I'm really excited about this opportunity. You know, I feel fortunate that there is a conflict with the Cup Series and that they needed a separate pit lane because otherwise I wouldn't have got to do that this year. So I'm looking forward to it. And I know a lot of the drivers already because they come from other things that I've covered.
Yeah. Of course, with MidOhio, this is going to be a MidOhio sports car course. I know. Is this your first time to MidOhio?
Oh no, I've been covering races at MidOhio since 2000. I've been covering races on television since 2007 at MidOhio. I've been going to MidOhio since 2003. It'll be my first time covering anything other than sports cars, so this will be different.
Yeah. With being on pit road and trying to challenge the challenges of being on pit road for all these different sports, how have you kind of been able to do your job differently in different circumstances like we had this last year?
It was different. It was different last year for sure, just because we were taken out of the face-to-face communication with people during the race weekend. And that's really the big way that I do all of my research. Traditionally have done it is I go and talk to people, and not being able to do that really did make it a bigger challenge than what I think anybody would have liked. But with things like, Zoom and just FaceTime, we were able, I sat in the infield at Daytona and was on FaceTime with drivers who I could see also on FaceTime with me, just doing, just some quick little interviews and getting some information before we went on air for the race. So we all kind of made it work. But it is nice to be able to get some of the face-to-face back.
Yeah, of course. So, with being at MidOhio, this weekend for the ARCA series, of course, the talk of ARCA is, I was talking to Charlie Crawl yesterday, is that we're seeing something pretty historic in the ARCA series this year. What Ty Gibbs is doing in this series and what Ty Gibbs has done in the Xfinity series it's just absolutely incredible. What's it been like to watch him go on the racetrack and stuff?
I think it's cool. One of my favorite things about ARCA is that you get to watch drivers mature and grow up. And that's really what we've seen with Ty. Even if you just go back to the beginning of the season at Daytona, he finished fourth and was so bummed and he was so upset. And he didn't contain it very well, which we don't expect of anybody to do following a race, but he didn't contain it. And I love that. He let it go. But we've seen him mature and we've seen him grow up and we've seen it result in race wins on the racetrack also. So that's one of the best parts about that series.
Of course, you've done a lot of NHRA races this year, of course, since they've came to Fox and also as well when you were at ESPN. What's it been like to cover drag racing, and what's, for anybody that has never been to one, what is it like to go to a race? Because that is an experience within itself.
It really is. I think that drag race television is one of the things that you can never actually do justice to being at the racetrack for. We can do the best job possible on television, but you still don't get the smell and you don't get the sound. You don't feel it the same way as you do when you go to the event. I tell everybody, it is sensory overload. You can't breathe. You feel the ground shake underneath you. Your ears are ringing so loud that you can't hear yourself think. It is the most incredible sense of power that I've ever been a part of.
When you look at, I know you've covered sports car racing in MidOhio for a long time. I know you've kind of looked at this track. What do you think the toughest part about this track is going to be for these drivers, you think?
I think the toughest part is going to be the track itself. The surface is so shiny, for lack of a better word. There is no grip on the racetrack anywhere. They run so many street tires throughout the course of the year because it's a school track. It's a teen driving school track. I've actually done a school at MidOhio. They run so many street tires along it that there is zero grip left in the surface itself, to the point that this past year, or this year actually, a couple of weeks ago when IMSA was there, you could see the reflection of the headlights on the track surface when it was dry and still sunny. That's how shiny the track surface is. So I think that's going to be the biggest challenge.
The Xfinity Series we talk about as well, because we're coming off same story in the ARCA series with Ty, but there's also we got Austin Cindric, we got AJ, we got all these road ringers. Andy Lally's going to be there as well. We got quite the field for the Xfinity race.
I think it's going to be great racing. I'm really excited to see Austin Cindric again. The last time that I covered one of his races was before he got up to the Xfinity level, and they were making him do any and every kind of racing that he could. And he came up through the IMSA ranks and did some of their races and really did develop a solid set of skills for these road courses. So I'm really excited to see him now in his Xfinity program that he's been extremely successful with, but back on a road course.
Of course. And of course, you're going to be on pit road, by yourself for ARCA. What's it going to be like for Xfinity? Are they bringing somebody else down there with you?
I will not be by myself, thank goodness. It'll be Vince Welch. And I'm really excited to be on pit lane with him. I've never done that before. We do trucks together, but he's in the booth and I'm on pit lane. So it'll be fun to be down trackside together.
Of course. All right. Jamie Howe, thank you so much for coming on and spending a few minutes, and have fun this weekend at MidOhio.
All right. Thank you.